Hello and welcome everyone. The stream seems to be live on both PeerTube and YouTube. Very nice. Very cool. Okay, I have both chats available. The primary one is on IRC and it will be displayed as an overlay. Okay, one more time, hello and welcome everyone. I am Andrew Tropin and I'm free and open source software developer, mostly known for being an author of Guix Home and RD projects, and for some streams and videos on Guix, emacs, RD, and other development-related topics. Here, in this stream series, we talk about free and open source software and the ways to make projects and the developers to keep living. We talk about development tools, technique, build a free and open free and open source software business, but actually we're here to enjoy the journey to this goal. Okay, let's talk a little about previous stream, what was here done during the stream. We talked about why we would like, or someone would like to stream, and why we do this series. If you're not very familiar with the story behind it, so you can watch the first stream and to know a little bit more context about what is happening here. After that, we discussed tools, mostly stream related, why we stream on PeerTube, why we prefer IRC over YouTube chat, and so on. We made chat overlay to display messages coming to IRC channel on top of video stream, and also we accidentally did automatic context retention. I fixed the code and now there is no automatic context retention, but we'll see, maybe we will return it back. Also, we faced a lot of technical issues during the stream related to OBS crashes and PeerTube instance going down and something else. I tried to reproduce problems with OBS, but not succeed. And now it seems it crashed one more time. It's very funny. I spent quite some time trying to reproduce the issue, but it was working perfectly okay. Okay, probably I will try more later after the stream, so we have a little more reliable streaming setup. Today I want to cover a topic which is tightly related to RD project, and I want to give some context why we talk about this topic. There are a few ways to develop things, to create software projects, and one of the ideas I heard a few times to make yourself irreplaceable, to make you the only person who knows the project and its internals and all such things. So you will secure your position and nobody will be able to fire you and so on. Maybe there's some rational idea behind it, but in most cases I think that it is a wrong way to make projects for many reasons. One of the reasons is that when you make the project so depending on you, and in case of some failure, I don't know, you get an injury, or by some other reason wouldn't be able to continue development, or you will just tired of this project, burnt out, or something else, the project will die. Basically, nobody will be able to continue your work. Or what is maybe even less interesting or expected result, the project will continue to life for some time, but the quality will be decreasing radically. And in my opinion, everyone should make project to be sustainable and almost self-contained. Probably people who are related to some infrastructure tasks knows that in most cases you prefer to reduce the number of dependencies of the system you deploy in. It's much easier to maintain systems that has a small number of dependencies, and if you are the biggest dependency of your project, it's really hard to maintain such project, especially when you are going to another project, or for some reason can't or don't want to continue the development. So my idea is to, or my approach is to make the project as much independent from yourself as possible. It's always good to have one person who can lead and set the direction for the project, who can bring smart ideas to create good architecture. But if the project disappears after the person comes to another project, or just leaves the project, this is not very sustainable project. And there are ways to make the project more sustainable. And actually, it shows that the quality of the project, if it is sustainable, self-contained, and autonomous from every, I would say, person on the project, that means that the quality of the project probably very high. And I prefer to keep it this way. I not always succeed with it, but at least try to do so. Hi, Anton. Also, hi, Demis. You Unvox. You probably also here. For example, RD project, unfortunately, not in the best state according to those qualities, but it will definitely survive if I leave the project, but I would like to make it more reliable, more future-proof, and to set the direction that will be easy to support by other people. And one way to do so is to make a great communication. You know, we know about many tools for communicating. First of all, which came to mind of people doing agile projects, is meetings, stand-ups, retrospectives, and so on. I think that meetings is not that great. For some cases, it may be useful. For some fast-pacing projects, it's maybe almost the only tool you can use, but most of the projects is long-term projects. They're marathons, and meetings are good for hackathons, for proof of concept projects, and so on. But the longer the project, the less preferable way of communication meetings become, in my opinion. For example, in very big software projects like Linux kernel, I don't know, Debian, Guix, and many other free software projects, there are no meetings at all in most cases. There's some online, offline events like meetups and conferences, but it's not the primary tool of development team. The other way to communicate is chat. IRC, Matrix, or whatever you use, but they're not great. I would say it's a good tool for some quick discussions, just very high-level thoughts, sharing very high-level thoughts and discussing them. But the downside of the chats is persistence. It's actually quite hard to follow some discussions happening on the chat, and I will consider chats almost the same as meetings, but only text-based. Even if you log in your IRC channel or have a chat application which supports logs and automatically keeps the history of the chats, it's still not the great tool for keeping your long-term discussions. It's great for quick discussions and high-level discussions of some ideas, but not that great in terms of discoverability and so on. Streams, videos, recording of the calls is another interesting thing and interesting tool to share some ideas, discuss some ideas. But it's even harder to go through the history and to navigate through the content and find the exact discussion and the exact topic inside them. So it's maybe even less preferable than chats. The good thing that you can have a bigger a much more people involved in such events, but it's more about sharing thoughts or maybe educating people, but not so much about the development process, I would say. Emails or other ways for asynchronous communication, for example, Zulip or forums, is a nice way to make a persistent discussions that you can reference later, that keep the context of the discussion and very focused on some particular topic. So such structured discussions like emails and similar tools are very good way for communicating with people. Documentation is another way to share the knowledge, to persist some decisions, and to make a project more explorable and sustainable. It has some downsides and upsides, but overall I think that documentation should be present, at least in some way, to reduce the load on the developers and maintainers, to make it easier to explore the project without actually disturbing or even relying on some person. A great tool has its own pros and cons, but I think should be present in almost any project. The code. The code reflects the current state of the project, and actually a very important way to communicate. And actually, in most cases, you have to write the code the way it will be easy to read. Probably one of the most important qualities of the code is how easy to read it, how easily you communicate with the future developers who will be reading the code and understanding the current state of the project. Comments, docstrings, other tools can increase the quality of this communication. They're not necessary in some cases, but every time you write the code, keep in mind that someone will be reading it and trying to understand how it works. And the easier to do it for the person who reading the code, the better your code overall, the better your communication with this future developer. Of course, there are some other qualities like performance and so on, but today and in this topic we talk mostly about communication. The commit log is another important way to communicate, and it's a good idea to keep a good commit log. The problem of the code as a communication tool that it contains only the current state of the system, but system evolves, and to understand why some decisions was applied, why some techniques were performed, can be unclear from the current state of the code, from the current state of the system. Commit log helps to get previous iterations of the code, to get a clean view on what happened to the particular file or to the particular model or even to the whole project. So making it easy to read and follow is a very good idea. Also, there are some other benefits in good commit log for development and maintenance reasons. But in terms of communication, it gives you a list of facts, of events, what happened with the code and for what reason. The downside of commit log that there are usually a lot of commits in big projects and even in medium projects, so it's really hard to follow and read all the commits and to read especially commit bodies, not only commit headers. So it's not that easy to understand what is happening and for what reason, because it's really huge log usually. What we can do to make it easier to understand why some decisions was applied is to keep the log of those decisions. And the best way to communicate to the future developers is to show them the past. You give them the context, the forces that was at the moment of making this decision. You write the decision that you've made and also the consequences which which this decision leads to. And having small readable description of such decisions and their context in the list helps developers from the future understand the reasons why something is done in this project this particular way. Without such a decision log, there are usually two ways of the developer to keep working. The first way is blindly accept the decision made previously without knowing the reasons. And another way is to blindly change the things and not respecting the decision previously accepted. The both can work. For example, in first case, the decision was made by some smart person and you blindly accepted this decision, you keep working and everything is okay. But maybe something changed. Some forces that were previously in action now not actual anymore. And probably blindly following previous decision, you won't get any profit for the project, or even worse, you will make the project worse. The second way is to blindly change something affected by this decision, but you can't know if something will broke because of that. Maybe this decision is not that good anymore according to the new context, and your changes are actually good, but maybe you're just wrong and don't know some internals, some context behind this decision, and it will break the project in the future. So communicating to the future developers and maintainers of the project using the log of important or architectural decisions is important, and I would say is a good tool. Probably one of the most valuable tools that you can have to make your project more sustainable and autonomous. I had a few projects. One of them was started 7-8 years ago, and I had a discussion with one of the current developers of the project, and they said that it was funny that something was done this way, which is obviously not a good idea to do it this way, but actually it was hard to discuss this thing because first of all it's not clear exactly what the decision is, because it's hard to communicate by words, but more importantly it's hard to tell the context of this decision and why such a thing was done previously. And a few more projects I participated in from both sides as a developer and maintainer and the author, and from another perspective as a developer or contributor. From time to time, I struggle to understand why it is done this way. And just in case someone put just a list of the decisions and the context behind this decisions could make it much easier to understand why this thing done this way. And having such experiences in my life where I struggled, where other people struggled with my projects, I decided that it will be a good idea to keep the log of such decisions in RD projects. And I already have a few occurrences when we started a discussion on some topic, and it was necessary to support some point of view why something is done this way, but it was hard to remember all the things that was in action the time the decision was applied. So I researched this topic a little and wrote a file, a template for decision log, where you can write a decision, and the actual first decision file, which contains the decision to write architectural decisions. The template is very simple. It contains the title, the date, status, context, decision itself, and consequences. The first example one is architecture decision records. Here I give a context why I would like to keep such decisions in these files. Also, the decision itself is to write down such files for every important decision and the consequences. It's not perfect, but it should work. I don't have an experience of maintaining such a log of decisions, but from what I see from my small research, it's not very expensive in terms of development times, but it gives a lot more for newcomers, for future developers and maintainers, and even for yourself when you go back and see why this decision was written down, in which context, and understand better why you did something the way you did it. Status usually is proposed, accepted, or superseded. Another optional status is request for comments. A request for comments with a particular date. So it's clear when you need to make comments on this ADR. Accepted is obviously when people who making the decision accepted it. It can supersede another decision that was done earlier, but you keep all the decisions in this directory, but some of them can be not actual anymore. And if the decision is not actual anymore, you can change the status to superseded or deprecated. The file should be quite short, 1 or 2 pages, and it should be written the way as you communicate to the future you or future maintainers and developers. So when you come back here later, years later, or someone new comes to the project, he can easily understand what important pivots you took during the project development. Hi, Andrew. Thank you. Another similar tool called changelog. Changelog is a more post factum tool which highlights what was done in the project. It's, I would say, more comprehensive and covers much more changes happened in the project, new features and so on. And it's also interesting and important tool which helps to communicate with the users of the project or maybe developers. But architecture decision records is probably more important for development process and highlights most important things happened to the project. Okay, let's get back to my outline. Actually, it was a theoretical part of today's stream. I wanted to share a thing from my everyday life and to share some of the reasoning behind the things I do. And I will also share the way I actually do some work, how I commit things, how I write emails and upstream packages. And for today, I will just commit this architecture decision records document, and also will upstream one package to the guix from RDE, and we'll explain it. I will take a very small break and will take a bottle of water. I know that many of you are developers and you have some processes in your projects. Can you share what tools do you use and how good they work for you? Another important detail that I forgot to mention about ADR is that you keep it inside your source code, so it's easily accessible. You don't need to go to some web page, to some wiki and some other external source. you write your code and you just check what decisions was made, just looking at the file which in the same repository as the code itself. It's a little harder to maintain for multi-repository projects, but submodules or some shared repository with decision log should be okay. And of course, there is no specific way to do this thing. There are some general recommendations, but you should adapt it to your own project to make it actually work and bring some benefit to you and to your project. Okay, I have the directory with two files. First one is template. Maybe inside this template I would like to elaborate a little more. A little more on the format. Forces at play, I would say. Forces at play, positive and negative. Accepted RFC. Date proposed. I don't know if you need a proposed. If it has RFC status, it's already proposed, I would say. Super seeded. That's it. I think it's good enough. Okay. Doc add decision log. Okay, now we have a decision log. We can write an email and request for comments on this decision log. Let's push it to remote repository. The nice thing about this decision log, it's immutable. Actually, when you made the decision, you record the fact of making such decisions. And this log shows the fact at a particular point of time. So every time you make another decision or to revert the previous decision, it's just another decision. So you keep appending to this log new files. So you never edit your decision after you made it. You can adjust some wording to make it a little more prettier and easier to read and understand, maybe a little better formatted and so on. But the decision itself is not changed. Okay, we can copy the link of this commit and share this link on RDDevil. File describing. Something like this. Whoa. Looks good to me. What? Please use scheme for frequency for 4 seconds or less. Okay, probably need to write it down somewhere and to explore it later. Whoop. I made an email draft. and I will revisit after the stream, I guess, or maybe someday. Okay, we wrote the decision log. The hard part is actually maintaining it. I will share the experience probably in few months, how it goes. Also, I need to write down some decisions that already done, because they are quite important and affects the way we actually work on the project, the development techniques we use it. Okay, and let's now upstream a package that I maintain locally in RD repository. It's a package, it's actually a few packages, tdlib and telega, emacs telega server and emacs telega packages. It's a Telegram client which I can run in emacs. And there were a few changes to the source code of those packages. So it requires a different patch and a different version of source code and different custom phases. I implemented them in my RD repository, and now I use this updated package for a few days already. But I would like it to either commit to RD or commit to guix upstream, so everyone who using guix can benefit from it. Let's see what we have in RD repository according to this package. We have emacs telega package, which uses tdlib messaging tdlib 180. We have two TDL packages. First one is more recent and up to date, but the second one is kinda stable. And emacs telega package is also kinda stable here. The problem with those packages, especially with tdlib, that it has some strange versioning. They don't put tags and don't make releases. They just bumps version internally. And as you can see here from package definition, version 1.8.4 referencing the particular commit, which is actually just a random commit after the afters of the library bumped the version inside the source code. I would say they have kind of rolling release when the version stays the same for a range of commits, and I don't know, a slightly unusual and strange releasing technique. But anyway, we have TDLib here, the definition of TDLib latest here. Let's see the log. As you can see here, the not much text here. It's more than a year since the last release, but they still bump version internally, but don't make releases. You can see the commit which updates the version. Okay, first of all, we can update TDL package. Just make it what commit we will use for this version. I don't know, let's see what commit I use in RD. Probably I took this commit from Telega repository. Which updated Docker file to this commit. Okay, fresh TDLib. Oh, I removed snippets probably. Okay, let's just take a look at the previous message. Update message. We'll just copy it. Good. We updated TDL to the latest version. Let's go back to emacs XYZ namespace or model and find Telega here. And also let's take a look at the commit log. Interesting. Oh, okay. Let's take a look at Telega messages only. Okay, use tdlib 180. Okay, now let's update Telega server, but let's add the sync of top. We also will need to update those patches, because this patch is not actual anymore. The variable was moved to a different directory, to a different file. Let's see. like this. We updated commit. We need to update hash. We updated the patch, and also we need to modify phase for TDL package, because it will be TDL core here. TDL core, okay. Okay, now let's see if it builds. What we will do here? We will launch guix build emacs TDL. The zone works great today. Cool. The only downside of PeerTube so far that if I stop streaming for a second because OBS crashed or something else, it for recurring stream it creates a recording to this point and adds it to the list of uploaded videos. So it's already a recording of the stream on diode zone, which is 4 minutes long, which is not actually true. The whole recording will be around hour and a half or something. Okay, we built TDL, which contains all the necessary files. Let's take a look at core file. A lot of things here, but we are interested in TDL etc file. Okay, which seems correct to me. Also, let's check TDL customize. We are looking for TDL server comment, which is a binary. Yep. It seems it's patched correctly. Now we can update packages. Let's take a look at the log. It will be 03. Okay, I forgot to do one thing. It should be a different version here. Revision, yep, like this. Okay, let's build it again. Okay, cool. Now we have an exact version. What else we have updated? Max Tillega. Update build phase. Okay. Looks like a good commit message. Now let's pull changes from guix repository. and we can push it. In RD we will find features emacs xyz telega, and we'll just use upstream packages. And later when I will be updating revision of guix used for building RT, I will probably remove most of this stuff. Probably I can even remove those packages. We'll see. They already upstreamed and they already have latest version, so not so much sense to keep them separate in RD. We can maintain them in guix repository. Okay, it seems we pushed it. And it's available in guix now. Cool. I think that's it for today. I will go and do some stuff without the stream, because streams are a little tiring and it's a little harder to focus on CPU intensive tasks when you stream at the same time. I'm really glad that everyone came here and joined the stream. As a conclusion, I would say record important decisions and make your project sustainable, autonomous, and well made. Thank you everyone for your attention, and see you in a bit. Bye bye.